Alrighty, CNT120, Chapter 3, last section here on troubleshooting. Some of these things as we went along I did actually show you, but it'll be a good refresher for some of these, and we'll give you some more detail as we go here. One of the first things they mention is your event viewer. On just about any system, whether it be Windows, Linux, Apple, server, desktop, etc., there's usually some type of event viewer that you can see, especially if there's addressing problems, whether there's conflicts, etc. Once upon a time, your Windows systems were not too good about letting you know if there's conflicts. Nowadays, if there's an address conflict, it's usually popping up warnings on your desktop letting you know, usually down in the corner, down kind of where the time is on your bottom menu bar, taskbar. It's usually popping up warnings and errors letting you know there's a conflict. So that's very helpful, but I can also be looking at my event viewer to see, is there any events that have occurred, conflicts, etc., etc. That is one good way to see if you have any problems. Another one is ping, which we've used a little bit. Ping, Packet Internet Groper. This is actually part of it actually uses ICMP, Internet Control Message Protocol. This actually uses that to let you know, do you have a successful connection or is there not a successful connection? And what ping is doing, and here's all kinds of variations, what ping is doing is sending a little data packet over through the network to that node, whatever it is, whether it could be a printer, it could be a desktop, could be server, etc. It's sending a little packet over there, and if the pathway there is good, if that device is on, if the NIC is on and it's functioning and the IP address is set and working, it'll respond to you and send a little data packet back as a reply. So if I get a successful reply back, I know that all of this layer 1, 2, and 3 is functioning, if you will. That's the point behind it. So if I have, let me pick on this right here, I'm going to do a ping to, I'll do hack.edu first. If I'm going to ping hack.edu, I'm going to get a reply back, but it's going to start saying timeout. Well, the first line lets me know that I have some information about it, which I probably got from my DNS server, but I'm getting timeouts. Well, more than likely there's not an issue because I can actually, let's go over here and I'll actually load hack.edu. There we go. I can load hack.edu, so there is connection there, but I'm getting timed down. Well, sometimes your web servers and firewalls and everything are designed to block some of this traffic. So let me try another one. I'll pick on google.com. Oops. Maybe if I actually type the ping command in, that might help. There we go. Ping. Always check your syntax first. Now that I ping google.com, I'm getting replies back. So this first one up here most likely is an issue that firewall or that server is programmed to not respond to you, which is very possible. Now when I ping google.com, I am getting a reply back. I'm getting a successful reply back. And if I were to Wireshark that, so let me do that real quick now. I'm going to get Wireshark going. Here's my wireless card. I'm going to let that run, and I'm going to reissue this ping to google.com. What I should be seeing in my Wireshark, I'll go over here to Wireshark now. I'm going to stop. What I should be seeing is I'm going to scroll up here. I'm actually seeing ICMP request reply. This is one of the pings that went over and back. This is my PC going to Google, Google coming back to me. It is actually using ICMP. Here's the ping reply. If I do the one above, here's the ping request. Ping is using ICMP, and when it sends data, this is actually kind of neat. If I look over here, here's the hex table, if you will, 61, 62, 63, 64. It's basically using the ASCII table, going A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, and then it kind of repeats to build the data field out. That's a fun little tidbit there. But ping is allowing me to check connectivity too. That's what that's allowing me to do. Here is a IP4 ping, and then here is an IP6 ping. We are actually going to do both when we do our labs, whether we're online or on campus. We're going to do both. We'll ping IP4 and then we'll ping with IP version 6 as well. We can use the IP config command. There was their ping. Now we can use IP config command to view IP address settings. Well, we've been kind of doing that all along. Let me clear my screen again. If I do IP config, I can see the current IP address configuration on my device. That allows me to see what's set. Very, very useful. If I want to do ipconfig all, that lets me see more details, as well as allows me to see my MAC address too. ipconfig /all. Then here is my wireless. Here is my physical address of my wireless. There's the MAC address. Here's the IP address subnet mask. And if I look here, this even tells me when I obtained the lease and when it's going to expire. Here's the gateway, here's the address of the DNS server, etc., etc. So this gives me a lot more information that might even be more handy depending on our scenario. I can also release a DHCP address and renew a DHCP address. So if I am having issues, something that can be done, I can say, okay, let's release whatever is here. We release whatever is here. I now have nothing. If I look under Ethernet, was it Ethernet Wi-Fi 4? There you go. I have no IP addressing information. Now I'm going to do ipconfig renew. What this does is it generates a new request to the DHCP server to like, hey, give me a new IP address, please. Let me borrow a new IP address, please. And that should respond back with that, and here it is. Now you'll notice it's the same IP as I had before, but I basically renewed the lease. I renewed the lease on it. So if I were to look at the details now, get back here, come on. If I were to look at the details now on this, ipconfig all, I'll see that I renewed this on 2 o'clock p.m., which was 2:03 p.m., which is like a minute ago. And now that's going to be good till Monday in the afternoon. So there I can release and renew IP address information, which might be handy if I have one of those APIPAs. I might release that and try to renew and see if I get connection now. Very handy to do that. Very handy to do that. Now, while we're at it, let me do, I think I have Wireshark handy here. Let me do a new capture again. And I'm going to let that run. Good deal. Okay, now that that's running, I'm going to go over here to my command prompt again. And I'm going to do release. Hit my caps lock here. Here we go. Release. And I'm going to do ipconfig renew. And what I hopefully should be capturing in Wireshark back there is this renewal process. So I'll go back here to Wireshark, and I'm going to look for DHCP in here. So I'll search for it. Let me see if I can find that, DHCP. And here we go. Here is me talking to the gateway. Here's the release, discover, offer, acknowledge. Here's the whole process of me releasing the IP that I had, discovering a new one, getting an offer, requesting to use it, and the server saying, yep, go ahead and use that. So here is literally that process of me getting this IP. It's the same IP, but getting the IP address and the lease renewed that I may have that for a period of time. There's that DHCP process happening in the background when I did the ipconfig release renew. If I'm on a Linux or Apple machine, I'm going to end up using ifconfig. And I can even do ifconfig down, ifconfig up, but I might need to actually put the interface name in there. I might need to say interface config eth0, eth3 down, ifconfig eth3 up kind of thing. I might need to put the interface in there to do that. I can use NSLOOKUP. I can actually say, hey, DNS server, what do you know as this particular address? So if I go here, let me clear my screen again. I can say NSLOOKUP, what do you know as Google, www.google.com? And it'll respond with, hey, this is the address of. This is the address of google.com or www.hack.edu. Here's the address for hack.edu. Now, where that comes in handy is, my computer is doing this in the background. When I go to load hack.edu, it's doing this in the background to find it. But if I'm not getting, let's say I'm trying to load hack.edu and I can't for some reason, I might check to see, well, what does the DNS server know? And it is possible, you know, hey, errors happen. We're all human. If somebody was working on the DNS server recently, maybe they made a typo and they're pointing everybody to a wrong IP. So we're not able to load the hack.edu webpage kind of thing. This would be a way to find out what does the DNS server know, and if these are all right, well, I'm going to keep troubleshooting. If they're not, I might need to update these or fix these. Because again, we're human. Accidents happen, typos happen. So this would be a way to find out what does the DNS server know. And here's an example of an NS lookup of cengage, but I can do this for pretty much any address that's out there. If I'm on a Mac or Linux machine, I can use the dig utility. It's the same kind of result. I'm going to get the same kind of result, but it looks a little bit different, but it's the same kind of result of like, hey, what do you know? DNS server, what do you know as the address for? All right, so there's a couple troubleshooting commands. Again, a number of those I kind of showed you along the way as we were going, but there's a refresher and maybe a couple more tidbits along the way. All right, and just for fun, we have Wireshark back here. So I'm going to start a new capture again. I'll let that run, and then I'm going to go to my command prompt here, and I'm going to reissue this NS lookup of www.hack.edu. So we'll let that run, and let's go back here to our Wireshark. I'm going to stop that, and I'm going to scroll through, and I'm going to look for any DNS information. There's a lot of extra stuff, so let's just pull that out, and let's just look at DNS now. So DNS here is a query of hack.edu, and then here's a quad A query of hack.edu. So the IP4 and then the IP6. So this NS lookup right here generated from my PC, the DNS server. Hey, what's the address for hack.edu? And then it actually generated a what's the IP version 6 address for hack.edu. And hopefully we get a reply back. Here's the quad A address for hack.edu. Right, that's hopefully what we're seeing down there. So as I was doing the command prompt, I was literally just generating a DNS request and reply with that command. So instead of opening a web page and having it do it for me, I can do it through command prompt to say, hey, what do you know? DNS server, what do you know? Alrighty, and that should be the end of Chapter 3.